Hello, everyone. Welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among many other things. Now, we're taking a look here today at dYdX, which is a currency exchange, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a request from one of my community members, so thank you so much for requesting that I cover this here today. Now, we're taking a look at the technical data alone. I don't know much about the fundamentals, but it's an exchange. What else more is there to know? But that being said, I'm not a financial advisor. This is always for educational purposes only. You should do your own research and just know that I have years of trading experience. I've been trading for over 15 years. I'm more of a conservative, safer trader, so I'm not going to tell you to just invest in anything. It's going to be thoroughly researched to make sure that we make an informed decision before we get there. This coin's a little newer, so I'd recommend, again, making sure you proceed with caution, for lack of better terms, but I can tell you that we'll take a look as much to the data as we possibly can, but I think its recent ICO date was in September, so it's a fairly new coin, if you will. That being said, if you want somebody on your side, perhaps it would be helpful to, kind of stay in the know with crypto. I have an actual Patreon account, link in the description below for that, where you can check that out. It's a Signal group / community. And what we do is we just all communicate openly through a private chat about trading, as well as the fact that I share every single trade with you. I send out signals when I take my entry points and provide it with private targets, sell targets, everything you need to know. I technically have a video that it describes all that, so you can check that out in your own time, but it's been a really cool experience, and I can't thank you enough to my current patrons for making this a reality. Thank you so much. You're awesome, and I'm really happy to be helping you as well. It's been a cool experience for me. Now, moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. Let's check out dYdX. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look here at dYdX, and we're just going to do a quick analysis, kind of see what's going on here. I got a request from one of my members. I'll just kind of double check this here. So thank you again for requesting that I cover this. Now, before we do, obviously, if you're new to the channel, I like to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum first, get a quick understanding of what's going on in the market, then dive deeper into the coin that we're going to look at here by just looking at the one-day chart all the way down to the 15 or 1 hour. So we'll take a look at that here in just a moment. So first things first, let's take a look here at Bitcoin. Oh, and to preface, I use TradingView.com desktop application. I just want you to know that it is the paid version. Recommend that just based on the simple fact that you get more than one indicator present at any given time, and it's just much more helpful, I guess you could say. Again, I do this every day for work, but on the same accord, even if you're casual, I might recommend considering that. I have a free month, in the link in the description below if you want to check that out, see if you like it, try it before you buy it. Anyways. Looking at the 4-hour chart here for Bitcoin, we've seen a pretty strong turnaround here, right? Roughly 7 hours ago, probably actually more like 5 or 6 hours ago, the price came down and tested 46,900. Now I had an entry set at 46,800. Little sad I missed that, but regardless of the fact, we do see the price having ramped back up pretty solid in the last 5-6 hours there to jump up to about 49,500. Okay. Now, obviously, at this point in time, we've got a pretty strong resistance level at about 48,800, so we'll see if that does close on the 4-hour chart here. Considering the fact that we're about 2.5 hours into this trading cycle, there's a chance it might break above and stay above. Now, granted, you want to rely more so on the one-day chart for support and resistance levels, but the 4-hour has its own place. And just bear in mind, too, the secondary support here, if that is broken and stays above, is 46,800, which obviously was tested recently, at least very, very close, and rejected. So all good signs here for Bitcoin. Keep in mind, too, we have a potential golden cross occurring here in the near future on the 4-hour chart as well. Again, I would put more weight into the one-day chart for the golden cross, but this is essentially a good sign here where the price is coming to swing up to kind of intersect with the 200 in upward fashion. Anytime you have a slower moving average intersect with a larger moving average in an upward direction, specifically the 50 with the 200, that is essentially a very good sign. Okay. Just keep that in mind for future reference. Now, looking at Ethereum, similar scenario here. The price is above the 200-day simple moving average. That's now a support level. We have a support here at about 3,200 and resistance at roughly 3,630. So just kind of hanging out in this little channel here. I'm venturing to guess Ethereum will break free of Bitcoin here in the near future because it has a tendency of doing that. And that pretty much just kind of precedes altcoin season, so we know exactly when that's going to happen. So just bear that in mind. That's kind of what we're looking at there for Ethereum. Now looking at dYdX, kind of just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? We'll go ahead and take a look at the one-day chart first. And obviously there's no moving averages and not a lot of data here so far. I don't typically put a lot of, for starters, I don't usually like to invest in coins that are this limited with trading data, because what its ICO date was back on September 9th, and that is roughly about what I don't know, a month ago maybe. So all in all, not a lot of trading data here, so we don't have any of the moving averages to really rely on. So the one-day chart doesn't tell us much except for the fact that it had a pretty strong ICO date, and it's consistently increased ever since then, right? Now, bear in mind, Bitcoin's done very well to the upside in that amount of time, so I think there's a strong chance that we might see this continue upwards just based on the fact that we're expecting Bitcoin to do very well in the month of October, which we are about 4 days in, obviously, and it's been doing okay, right? So all in all, that's kind of what we're looking at. Now, why don't we take a quick peek at the 4-hour chart, because we really can only rely more so on shorter time frames when it comes to coins like this that are recent ICOs. And I did look around. I didn't do a very thorough analysis, but I did look at a lot of other exchanges, and it does appear that September 9th was the first day. So correct me if I'm wrong, leave a comment below, but just based on this trading data alone, looking at the 4-hour chart, we're above 50 and below 70. That's a very good sign. Basically, it just means we still have a bullish, bullish convergence, so to speak, because the 50 is somewhat of a support level on the RSI. So that's pretty good there. We also have a convergence that occurred recently. That was yesterday at 1700. So we'll just go ahead and mark that to kind of see what that looks like on the 1-hour chart. But all in all, not bad. I like this. I mean, the price is staying above the 50-day simple moving average. That's a big deal, especially when you see it kind of come down and bounce. So likely, if the price, the 50 will continue to kind of progress upwards and over, it'll do something kind of like this, then we could likely see the price continue to the upside. Okay, so that's my guess. I feel like that could and should happen. But again, at this point, it's only speculation because there's not a lot of trading data. Can't really look back, a year or two or even months and kind of see what its previous all-time high was. All we can really do is use the current data we have. Therefore, we should go ahead and mark the resistance level at about 2670 and make sure that that is considered to be a resistance level moving forward and see kind of what happens there. We've also kind of got this interesting little spot here, more frequency of support and resistance at about 2170. So we'll go ahead and mark 2170. And just note that the price will probably stay within this channel and will likely break to the upside as we got the 50-day simple moving average holding as a support, as well as the fact that we got that previous, I marked that wrong, 2170. Now let's just make it easy. Whoops. All right, there we go. So as we can see, we got that channel there. So again, 50 is working as a support. We've got the secondary support here at 2170. So we got a couple of good things. We'll look at a smaller time frame to kind of see, on the 15-minute chart, how the VWAP is looking, the volume weighted average price, kind of see if that's helping us continue to the upside. My guess is that we're under VWAP and EMA. We're gonna have to rely on the 50 and or the support level here at about 2170, kind of see if that will work well moving forward. Okay. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek at the 1-hour chart and look at the, let's go with the Ishimoku cloud first. Now Ishimoku, price is above the cloud right now, as we can see. The 4-hour chart told us that we had the convergence, right? So typically that's a buy signal to the long, or long buy signal essentially, where you buy low and sell high. And it peaked up here, but here's the thing, it kind of got resisted out. It got hit the resistance or very close to, right around $26, and it kind of turned around and retrace. So it's kind of stuck in this little channel right now. So if you were to consider taking entry, wait to see how the price responds to the support level down here, right around 2170. Then obviously make sure that we pay attention to TD sequential. We'll look at that here in just a moment, but first thing to first kind of highlight this, if you're unfamiliar with the Ishimoku cloud, when you're above the cloud, it's considered a buy signal. And when you're below, it's a sell signal. So to say you'd invested here, you would be at a pretty strong return. You'd probably be upwards of 80–90%. Yeah, you'd be right around 78% right now. Increase, as is if you had jumped in right there. Again, retrospect is 2020. It's really easy to look back at the price chart and be like, oh, you take entry there. That you would have been fine. But simply put, when the price is above the cloud, more often than not, it'll continue to the upside. And when it's below the cloud, it's considered a sell signal, right? So here's the cool thing about the price action being where it's at. It bounced off the cloud, and it's essentially staying above. So if we can get this to kind of continue sideways and then up and bounce off the cloud, we will see it continue up to test its previous resistance, or its resistance high of 2675. Yeah. Just something to be mindful of. So those are just things to be aware of there. Again, Ichimoku Cloud, we're still in pretty good shape there. EMA and VWAP, no surprise, price is under a VWAP. And if you're not familiar with that, VWAP is just a short, it's an acronym for volume weighted average price. Basically takes the volume last 24 hours and expresses it as a price. So that's a really good sign in the sense that we have, the price actually telling us that it should be higher when technically the price is lower. So that basically means it's a good value, but oftentimes when you buy into the VWAP, it's considered a resistance level instead of a support. So you just got to be aware of that as well. Right now, that's a tentative resistance at about $25. Okay, so just be mindful of that. I oftentimes prefer to wait for the price to be above VWAP before I take entry, but coins like this being a newer ICO and a little bit lower volume than more traditional, large market cap coins, I would say that we're going to we want to be careful and cautious to see how the VWAP responds. And what I mean by that is just I would say don't worry about it too much. Honestly, the more important factors here is the fact that we have support and resistance levels. Those are most of what we want to rely on when we have less trading data. Okay. So again, what it's been creating here recently is what we want to use versus what it's because it doesn't have a large history, we can't rely on the past. Hopefully that's making sense, but all in all, we're looking pretty good here for dYdX. I do think it's going to stay within this channel and then break to the upside eventually. Now, if we're to take a quick look at TD sequential, we'll see we're kind of down. We hit a 9 and we're resetting. What that basically just means is anytime TD sequential goes down from counts up from 1 or down from 1 essentially, we can see this counting all the way to a number 9. Now, when it hits a 9 on TD sequential, it basically just tells us that we have reached a state of exhaustion, right? So hypothetically, right now, the bears are maxed out, and we should see some sideways action followed by a potential increase, right? Because if we can consistently make higher highs and higher lows, we'll be in good shape. We do have higher highs, but we don't have higher lows yet. So all in all, again, still in pretty good shape. I like the fact that we're at a 9 right now because we should see a reset. We shouldn't expect the price to go down too much lower, but it could still very well happen. I know that sounds completely contradictory, but we have no guarantees in trading. But if history tends to repeat itself, for the most part, anytime you see a 9 on TD sequential, we should at least see a period of consolidation. So there's a good chance we could see it just go sideways for a little while. It could go down, could come back up. I know that that's not really helping you, but I can tell you that that's the realistic nature of it. But if we look back here, just for example, let's go with history. We see the 1 down to a 9, and then it retraces and comes back up. 1 down to a 9, comes back up. Those are lower lows and lower highs, right? So it keeps coming down. So lower highs and lower lows. Okay. Now, if we kind of take that same theory here, it's coming up, right? It shot way up, but it has to retrace because it increased too quickly. This could and very well should be the bottom based on the simple fact that we're making higher lows, right? And so for higher highs. So if it comes up right here and tests this, that would be a higher high, and it will likely break to the upside at that point. So all in all, again, I like what I see here. Do I think it's going to break out and go crazy balls to the wall super high on the price? I don't know. I don't think so, because the simple fact that it's 2x'd basically in 1 month. It's doubled in price in 1 month alone. Yeah, how much more does it have left in the tank? It's hard to specify because we don't really know based on its history. So again, that's why I like to exercise caution with coins that are newer like this. You're in essence kind of gambling in a small way, more so than regular, because the fact that you don't have a lot of trading data. We don't have any moving averages to rely on. I mean, yes, we have the 4-hour moving average, and I think that we're above the 50. That's a good sign, but that's literally the only thing we can rely on. We have no moving averages on the 1-day chart, which is unfortunate because that can be very difficult to kind of gauge where you're at with everything. Last thing we'll take a look here is EMA and VWAP. We're again under VWAP and under EMA. So simply put, when we look at those two things, the price is below the volume weighted average price, therefore it's considered a resistance, and we're below EMA as well. So the exponential moving average is basically telling us that the bears are still in control right now. So until the EMA line is below the price and the price can kind of break back above the volume weighted average price, I think it would be best to kind of wait and to see if we can find the bottom. But again, we are seeing higher lows and higher highs so far. It's not a lot, again, because we've only got 1 high and 1 low. but it is higher highs and higher lows. Okay. So again, a lot of contradictory information here. So to me, I would honestly I would personally wait. That's just me being more conservative. I'd wait to see if the price comes down closer to 21, maybe buy the dip. If it continues to increase, perhaps consider investing, but I would just proceed with caution, because this coin, we don't have a lot of data. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, and we need to be more careful. So I always recommend being more cautious than not. I would much rather still have money in my portfolio and not invest and see the price go up than to invest and see it go down, right? So just, again, if you're going to do anything, rely on these support and resistance levels and see what happens next. So I hope you found benefit. I hope this didn't provide more questions than answers, but it's really, truly difficult to give an accurate prediction on coins that have a lot less data like this. But I mean, as you can see, we've got pretty strong support and resistance zones right now. We're still within that channel. And will it break to the upside? Hard to say. Just say it does, for example. Bear in mind, on the one-day chart, we need to see that candlestick close above this resistance level of 2670 in order to ensure that it's going to continue upwards, right? Because as you can see here, there's 2 days in a row it couldn't close above that point, and that's not a good sign. Not to say it's a bad thing, don't get me wrong. It just means that that's reaffirmed as a resistance level. So, the next time it tests that, don't just buy in because it peaks above there. Wait for that candlestick to close and then consider taking entry. Okay. All right, these are just things that I look at. And if you would benefit from having somebody along your side, I trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pretty much. And I have a trading group, a signal group that I provide with my trading communities, essentially, where I share all of my trades with my community members. I send out signals through CoinExpot, which you can basically just click follow and essentially follow along. I have about an 85% success rate. I share all of my trades, again, my successful and unsuccessful trades with my community, so you always know how we're faring. But we're doing very well this year, and it's been an awesome experience in only 3 months alone. Got closer to 50 members already. So jump on in there if you get a chance. Link in the description below. I have an informative video if you want to learn more about what you'd be potentially getting into. But so far everyone's having a great experience. It's been a really cool experience for me as well. So thank you to my current patrons. Really appreciate you as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.